Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. Today, you all are going to help me choose my next car. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. So as you may already know, my Kona was tragically taken from me. That led me to having to get a sort of stopgap vehicle. I chose the 2015 Tesla Model S70 to kind of, get me to and from where I need to go until I can get the car that I wanted. And the car that I wanted was the upcoming 2025 Volvo EX30. And I'm gonna be really honest, I'm starting to get cold feet. And maybe some of you can help me change my mind, or maybe say, hey, stick with the Volvo. But I'm gonna kind of walk everybody through my thought process, why I'm getting a little bit nervous about the Volvo EX30, and what are some other things that I'm looking at instead of the Volvo EX30. So before we get deep into the episode, if you haven't already, please go ahead and check out my other channel, EV charging site reviews. Basically, the point is to give you an idea of what a charging site is before you go there, hopefully giving you more confidence, or maybe even helping you make the decision to not go to a charging station if it is not a great site. So if you could do that, that'd be great. Also, I am getting more and more active on X. So if you follow me at The Average EV, you can get some behind the scenes content. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. So like I said, Volvo EX30, it was a car I was really excited about, and there have been a lot of reviews coming from Europe that I've been watching, and they have actually started to make me a little bit nervous. It's kind of looking like the EX30 isn't going to be the vehicle, at least that I thought it was going to be. Now, I'm trying to sift through what is useful and not useful information, because most of the reviews are coming from Norway, Sweden, which is a little bit colder right now than the US. And the temperatures they have there are not the temperatures that I would be using the Volvo EX30 for road trips or whatever it might be. However, that being said, looking at what ranges they're getting, it looks like the range isn't even going to be close to what they were saying the EPA was. The EPA is actually currently not. Sorry, the EPA doesn't do the testing, but Volvo is currently doing the EPA testing that they're going to submit, and they took the range off the website, which makes me feel like the range is gonna be closer to maybe 255, 260 miles. Now that's just speculation-ish. I was looking at the ranges from Norway and Sweden, and then trying to factor in if it was warmer weather, and I'm getting that 250, 260 vibe, kind of like the Kona. Now the range is pretty close to the Kona, however, the charging speed is faster than the Kona, which would make it a little bit more desirable. However, the Kona is a little bit bigger. So anyways, those are one of the things, one of the reasons why I'm kind of getting a little bit of cold feet. Also, the software, it looks like it's fine relatively, but there are these little quirks, these little annoyances. Some things aren't going to bother me, like the side view mirror adjustment, not a big deal. But adjusting how the distance between cars, you have to go almost 2 or 3 menus in to get to that. That's kind of annoying. Now, again, I can't confirm. I have to trust, because they're very reputable reviewers, that they did tried to figure it out and they couldn't figure it out. But if they can't figure it out, that has to be true, is what I'm guessing. So you have to go 3 menus in. Now this is stuff that could probably be fixed with software, but am I willing to wait for the software to get this fixed? I don't know. There's a few other things here or there, but overall, from what I've heard, it drives great, which is kind of important to me, but not the biggest deal. I like a fun driving car, but honestly, I'm not ripping it. I'm just commuting. I just want a car I can take on trips and enjoy, and I can go to work and I can enjoy. And that's what I'm really looking for in the end. So what am I going to do from this point? Well, I'm not saying I'm not going to go with the EX30, but I've started to entertain some other ideas, and I really would love to hear your all's opinion about this. Now, I'm a smaller YouTube channel. I'm not trying to make money off of this, but that being said, when I pick a car, I'm trying to pick a car that people are going to want to watch so that at least I get a little bit of return. Maybe it helps me pay a little bit of a car payment or something like that. I don't want to go and buy a car that is not going to help the channel grow. So this is what I'm looking at, and I'm gonna kind of pull stuff up, show you all what I'm thinking here, and what route I might want to go when it comes to my next EV. All right, so the first car that I'm gonna take a look at and I'm interested in is the Chevy Equinox EV. That's right, the Chevy Equinox EV. I had always been kind of interested in it because it was advertised as being a $30,000 car. Once everything kind of came to reality, it's $35,000 for the lowest spec trim, which isn't that great, but it's also not terrible. However, if I were to get the Chevy Equinox EV, I would reach up all the way to the 3LT trim. Now, why am I interested in this vehicle? You know, a lot of people are going to say Chevy's been having a lot of issues. Like, why would you want to have to deal with that? Well, I've been paying attention to this because I agree Chevy has been having a lot of issues, and it looks as though they fixed them and they're trending on the up and up, which is good. I like when things are on the up and up. Obviously, they had the stop sale on the Blazer. They're selling the Blazers again. They're making the Blazers. They're making the Equinoxes right now. The RSs are going to hit dealers soon, hopefully. And so I think it makes it a really viable option. Their charging has looked sketchy. I've been tracking some Chevy Blazer EV charging from what it was, and with some updates what it is now. I've also been tracking some Lyriq charging where it was and where it is now. And while I don't think the charging is perfect, I think that it's improving, and it also shows that Chevy is willing to and is working on improving the charging with over-the-air updates, which is great. So it's very likely that it could improve, and the state that it is in now is not that bad. It's not that bad. Obviously, it only peaks at 150 kilowatts. I'd love for it to peak higher, like the ID4 peaks at about 186 is what I usually see actually going into the battery, and on the charger it'll say 192, but about 186. It'd be nice to see that. But from what I'm seeing, it kind of sustains the higher-ish power, and then there's this weird drop-off, and that's what kind of slows it down and makes it not charge as fast as the ID4. So I have been tracking that, and I would be willing to get that car to kind of show that journey for people to see if they do improve it over time. Now, let's take a look at the trim here. I have it pulled up on the website. So I'm going to get the 3LT if I were to get it. $45,295, which is around the same starting price as the ID4 Pro rear-wheel drive trim. This is front-wheel drive, which is not my favorite, but as long as they've got everything set up right, it will be okay. Like my Hyundai Kona, the reason why I really didn't like it was because the wheels would spin out a lot. But if the torque kind of matches the car well enough, I think it'll be okay and won't be the same spinning wheels all the time. It gets 319 miles of range, which is awesome. If this car is anything like the Lyriq, maybe it actually will get 319 miles of range at 70 miles an hour or faster, which would make it much more enticing than the EX30, which what I've been looking at isn't quite living up to the potential. But like I said, those have been in colder locations at colder times, so maybe it'll get better range. But aerodynamically, you can tell the Volvo isn't as aerodynamic as the Equinox EV. And of course, this gets ventilated front seats, would just be a really, really nice touch. And lastly, it'll have Super Cruise available, which I would likely get or at least try out, and which I think would be awesome. Obviously, that level of driver's assistance is always appreciated for me when I'm taking those long road trips, and I can kind of let the car do its thing while I'm, of course, paying attention and monitoring it. So those are my thoughts there with the 3LT. I think it's a great option. Obviously, also Chevy is going to have access to the supercharger network soon. Volvo will as well, but that is one thing to consider when getting this vehicle. Now, my next option, these are kind of my two like dream cars. Like, I really do love the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. I think they look great. My biggest issue is I'm just worried that people aren't going to want to watch anything about these cars. So if you're watching this video and you're like, oh yeah, I would watch, then let me know. And you know, this lease deal right now on the Ioniq 6 is mad crazy, and I wanted to go through with it, but I'm just too worried that it won't be worth getting it. And again, it is one of my dream cars. I would love to have an Ioniq 6. But if people aren't going to watch it, I kind of don't want to get it, unfortunately. And maybe later I'll be able to get this car finally and just enjoy my dream car. But the trim I would get is the range spec. The SE, it gets the 361 miles of range, which I don't think anyone's ever actually seen it get, which is interesting. I'd love to test that out and see how it's going. But obviously the charging's great. The range is great. I think it looks great. I've seen it in person a couple times. Some people don't like it, but you know what? They're not driving it. I'm driving it. It doesn't get the HDA2, which kind of stinks, but you know, it's not the end of the world. The other would be the Ioniq 5. I've always loved the Ioniq 5. But again, I think there's so many people producing content about the Ioniq 5 where, you know, it probably wouldn't be worth it to me to bring that onto the Average EV channel. If anyone has one out there, they could let me drive for a little bit. I would love to drive it. But I just don't think that it would be worth my time. Now, next, I'm not sure about this one. And I would love to get this car. It would meet my needs. Now, obviously, I like to take long road trips, but we have the ID4. We're going to get the 2024 ID4, and we can use that for road trips if we really need to. But the Kona Electric, I mean, it's EPA estimated up to 261, which is just a little bit more than my old Kona. It's bigger than my old Kona, which would be nice. All the tech is leveled up. The charging is leveled up now to, I believe it's 100 kilowatt max. It holds that for a while and then drops to the 77 and then drops down. And then I think there's one more drop to around 35. So the charging is not terrible. And again, it's a crazy lease bonus right now, really tempting for the SEL, which is what I would get, not the small battery, the big battery. It's $179 a month. That doesn't include taxes and stuff, so it probably end up being like probably $250-ish, which is great, right in my range. And it's only $2,000 due at signing, so that is really enticing for me as well. And I would enjoy my time. I always loved my Kona, and I'd love to get back on another one. Just kidding. I would like to, but I'm just being a little dramatic here. See if we can go down here and just look at the specs a little bit. Yeah, it's got the 150 kilowatt electric motor. It's the same as the old Kona, but they did step the torque back, which helps with that. The front wheel's not spinning out as much, which would be nice. It's got the heated front seats. Got power driver seat, which my old one didn't have. Had roof side rail, so we could put my box on top if I wanted to. I probably wouldn't level up to the limited because that's a $5,000, well, almost $5,000 increase. But I think I would be happy with the SEL, and I'm going to tell you that Neoteric yellow. Can I pull that up? I can't pull it up. I really like that, the bright yellow. I call it the average EV yellow. I do like that, but I don't know if I would pick that ultimately because you know, you stick out a little bit when you have a bright yellow car. So that's it with the Kona Electric. I think that would be a good option for me, and like I said earlier, I know it doesn't charge as fast, but like I use it as a commuter car, so I don't need to charge fast. I usually charge at home. I just really need an efficient car. I mean, I could probably get the SE, save a little money, but just in case I wanted to for you all to take longer trips, I do like to have that extra range. And then lastly, do I just stick with the Volvo EX30? Am I freaking out too much? Am I panicking too much? I don't know. There are some issues with the Volvo. I said them earlier. It's just little things we had to go like too many menus in to do relatively simple tasks. The range might not be what it's supposed to be. I didn't even talk about the charging. The charging, it does get up to the advertised range, speed, but it does this weird kind of slow ramp up to get to the 150. Now again, I don't know if that's because of temperature, and all the videos I've watched have been in Nordic countries that are a little bit colder as they're reviewing them. But all of the reviewers that did the charging test said that they had preconditioning on. So does that mean the preconditioning is not that great, or maybe it's just too cold? I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm freaking out for no reason. But I obviously want to have a car that I'm going to enjoy. And if the charging's not going to be what's advertised, and that's kind of the one reason I was looking at this car, I'm like, well, for the battery pack size and the range that they're saying, it's a really good ratio of charging speed to range. Like, this is a car for me because I can use it for all my videos. But if it's not even going to deliver on those two things, then it makes me nervous. And I'm going to pay, because I'm going to probably get the Ultra trim. I'll be a couple thousand less than the Equinox. But I mean, I'm not gonna, like, it's not like a cheap car by any means. So I don't know, everybody. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's very likely that I will lease any of these vehicles. The Equinox is the only one where maybe I would potentially purchase it, because that does actually qualify for the federal tax credit. But I still might lease it anyways, just because EVs change so fast, and I've watched our ID4s. Here, I'm in it right now, and I love it, but the values tank so much. It's risky to buy an EV right now, in my opinion, with how volatile things are. Or maybe I could pick up a Fisker Ocean. Just kidding. I think it looks great, but I don't know. The risk of having a car that has no support, that I just feel so bad for all the Fisker owners right now. Like, that really stinks and is really unfortunate. But all right, everybody. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Again, actually, before we go, because I know there's gonna be, why don't you get a Tesla? Listen, I went and I sat in the Model 3 refresh, and I actually liked it. I did like it, and I was gonna put it on this list. But I'm not looking to buy an EV like I told you all. I'm looking to lease it, and Tesla does not allow you the option to purchase it at the end of lease. And with any of these cars, if when things come to a close, and I would want the option to buy, I would want to be able to do it, and I don't like that Tesla doesn't allow you to. So I have thought about it. Maybe I'll still think about it, because if I do, I get the car and then I choose to, like, not keep it, then, like, I didn't get the Tesla for, like, a silly reason. So I'll entertain it. But again, there's so many people out there covering Tesla, and I don't think people are going to watch my content if I were to cover it, or maybe millions would. I don't know. But anyways, love to hear your thoughts down below. Please just be, like, civil and respectful. I know that people have their strong opinions about different car brands, and that's super cool. But I legitimately am trying to make sure I'm bringing content that could be useful to you all, my audience, or maybe even future audience members. I think that the Equinox is going to reach people that have never wanted to purchase an EV before. I think that the Volvo EX30 is going to reach people that have never wanted to purchase an EV before. Obviously, I love the Ioniq 5 and 6, and then I think the Kona has the potential to reach people who have never wanted EVs before as well. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Konas around now. A lot of those 21 leases are being returned, and people are buying them used, so I don't know. So again, love to hear your thoughts. Please leave them down below. As always, please remember to give a like, a subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please be sure to follow EV Charging Site Reviews. Heck, if you want to check out my merch, I've got some cool merch as well. Thanks again, and I will catch you all next time.